Life has been lifing and it does not play fair. So I recently read all over social media about Florida attempting to ban elementary school students from learning about menstruation. And it says that which would prevent educators from teaching about menstruation and other sex education topics in elementary school. My problem with this is a lot of times when you start your cycle, you are still in elementary. Sometimes, depending on a lot of different variants. I think 10, 11, 12, around in that age, which 11 and 12 sometimes, or is middle school. However, not preparing girls for their cycle, I think is more, does more harm than it does help. At least if it's in a controlled environment, you can tell them, explain to them, teach them. Because a lot of times, it's not really talked about at home. I don't remember the conversation that my mom and I had about cycles, but these new kids are exposed to so much at a younger age that you have to really get on their level. I remember my youngest asking me, why do you have on a diaper? What is that coming out of you? Like she was young and I didn't feel the need to explain it to her then, but she had so many questions. And so I told her that this is the part that separates you from boys, which is so much more than that. But at the time, I didn't really want to get into it with her. They've cut out, Florida hates everything. You've banned books. You want to ban reproductive talk, which I understand that a lot of kids probably aren't mature enough in elementary school to handle something like this. But if you don't talk about it, then why are there books like this and this? Because you can ban the other ones, but we're going to have to get this later. Because if you're not taught about what your period, your cycle, your menstruation is for, then you won't know that it's a disorder or a disease or something's wrong later. At least if you teach them early what it is, what it's for, what was your, women were here or are here to not necessarily procreate, but you have the choice in some cases to procreate. So that is why we have a cycle every month. I found the book, looked up and found the book. I don't even know where it's at now, but I think the youngest, they said My Period and Me. It's like a little, I'm gonna say graphic novel, maybe comic book, but it was something to teach them about what a period was. And it was, it's made probably for 11, 12-year-old kid. Nobody is saying teach them sex education. I understand that that's a little too much for elementary, but teaching them about their bodies and something it naturally does, you don't want to do that. Where would you suggest that they learn it at? Why would you take that from them? What is the goal? How is it hurting? I remember being in school, elementary school, and they did puppet shows, and they taught you things like bad touches and good touches, and different little things that we used to have public service announcements for. Or there was some another little show that used to come on, but it was just like something to help you along the way, because not all mothers and fathers sit down and have birds and the bees conversations, and a lot of times you don't understand what the kid is going to go through, because even though I think my mom started her cycle when she was young. I started. And so the kids, their cycles are definitely abnormal, but to the doctor, they are not. But we don't know because we're not having this conversation with them, and we're not making it. Florida is telling you can't read what you want to read. We can't discuss what's going on with your body. And then when you do get in trouble or something happens to your body, Roe versus Wade is gone. So, I mean, like, we are digging a deeper hole, you know, than we ever would. Not talking about it. How can you not talk about it? Not talking about it is what causes embarrassment. It's what causes shame. It's a natural part of life. And with this month of March being Endometriosis Awareness Month, I said I was going to do more videos, but like I said, life been lifing. And I realized that I was ashamed to admit that I had endometriosis and fibroids. I don't know why. I guess it was because it was surrounded by my cycle. I don't know. But I don't recall having talks about periods, or nobody came in to explain it to us. Maybe you should get a OBGYN to come in and explain it to them. And send letters out to the moms and dads and families and say, hey, we're going to be talking about this if you feel like this is something your daughter, because it's son too, because they need to understand what is happening to the women and the girls in their lives. You would be doing them a big disservice by telling them, don't talk about it. Just don't. Most of the time when you don't talk about it, they get the wrong information. And there's so much floating on Beyonce's internet that we don't know what's true and what ain't true. And like at a young age, you're going to take it after school, put it in the songs. You took prayer out, and then you're taking this out, and you're taking out books. And most of the books that are banned, in my opinion, are books that kids that look like me would really benefit from reading. Not all of them, because I don't have the banned list memorized. But as a reader and a writer, I couldn't imagine being told, nope. This now, at the age that I am now, I'm just now seeing more and more Black authors on the shelves, and you plucking them out the school. What you gonna leave me to read? And then now I'm going through this change where my body is changing. I'm bleeding, headache, cravings, cramping, moody. Like, I have all these things going on in me, and you telling me don't talk about it? How? Why? So it just further lets us know that you don't give a fuck about what goes on with women and girls, because we start a cycle before we're even responsible enough to say, hey, can you go to the store and give me some sanitary napkins or tampons or, bras? Like, a lot of times the kids aren't even prepared to have the conversation with their parents. And at least if you start them out, just like in cursive handwriting, start them out practicing it and let them, because over time with continuous doing, they have a cycle every month, and then by the time they've had a cycle 1 or 2 years, you've prepared them for it. I think this is the only place where we shame a woman for doing what our bodies are supposed to fucking do. Like, I don't get why you want to control our bodies so much, but then when it's fucked up, you run and hide your hands. Well, you told me not to talk about a period, and now I have endometriosis and fibroids and adenomyosis and cysts and all these things in there, and I've been hiding how much I've been bleeding, how much pain I've been in, how much agony I've been going through, because you told me not to talk about it. That is what happens with everything. You don't talk about it, and shit, they get the wrong information, and she just goes downhill from there. So what is the alternative? Like, don't give us some shit. You gonna ban us from talking about our period, something that our bodies do naturally, but you don't have an alternative. What's the alternative? Like, what are the resources that you're giving me that if I can't talk about it, because that means if I come on my cycle in class, and of course the kids laugh at Joe because they don't understand what's going on, then you've created more of a problem psychologically. Now she's shamed, embarrassed, afraid. And this is all because you don't want to talk about it. So what happens when she says, something happened, I need to go to the bathroom, and then the other kids want to know what happened? So what is the, like, are you going to punish them? Like, I don't understand. And I didn't read off of Intuit because I don't care. I think it's ridiculous all the way around. You cannot convince me that that's a good idea, no matter who the fuck says it. The only time that we're 100% comfortable, you got to be in your 30s, and you sitting around a bunch of your homegirls who had the similar experiences that you had, and then you talking about it then. And a lot of times, not everything gets told in that circle, but it's a safe space. Now you taking away, don't talk about it, it's banned, we not doing this. What's the alternative? I can't even think of an alternative except for somebody from the health center comes in and does a workshop with the parents to teach them how to discuss period talk, or how to discuss body changes, because I know we've already taken our home economics out of a lot of the schools, which home economics doesn't really teach you about your body. I do remember being in high school, and that's when they had the little, was that high school? We had to bring the doll home that cried, the baby think it over. I think that was 8th grade that we did that. Then in high school, I think it was the time where you got to try on the pregnant thing and see what it feels like to be pregnant. But what the fuck are we doing? We just gonna let Florida decide what our kids can read, what they can talk about, what they can discuss, or how to feel shame or embarrassment about something that your body does naturally? Make me understand, because if it's my child and she starts her cycle in the middle of 4th grade, 3rd period, and she at school, I don't want you making her feel like she can't discuss what's going on. And I don't want her to feel some type of way. We got to be the only country that shames this shit. Other places have period parties, welcome to womanhood. Like, they're doing things to celebrate something the body does naturally. Like, I could understand if it was something that didn't affect half the population. But because it's a period, and in order to give life, you have to go through it. Like, make it make sense. I don't see how anybody in their right mind could feel like it's okay to shut us up. We can't control it. Yeah, it's natural. That's the way God made us. So give me an example of what is going to be banned. Like, show me what happens when a little girl come in and say, I'm bleeding. Because even in the 12th grade, the 9th grade, the 8th grade, it's shame around it. Sometimes you don't even know your body. You can't even expect when to, even now, damn it, I don't even know when my cycle is coming. Sometimes the app will tell me, I delete the app. My body knows, I can feel it. So my body knows when it's coming, no matter what the calendars say. So what are we going to do with these kids not knowing what's happening? And then when you make them ignorant because you withheld the truth, or you told them they couldn't talk about it, then what? It's perplexing to me. But I'm going to say that I'm going to hope that you put together some kind of program, some type of big sister program, big brothers, like get them to talk about it outside of the schools if that's going to be your solution. But don't give us no fucking bans without giving us a solution or giving us an alternative, because you banning books, you banning periods. Shit, what's left? You gonna ban us breathing? Like, don't breathe in class, don't breathe in Florida, in one of the schools. Like, y'all got to do better than this. Y'all are really letting these babies down. And furthermore, I'm going to take it a step even further. I feel like it's an aim at the communities where there's poverty and where there's lack, because those are probably the ones that's most unprepared to have these discussions at home. Even me, I don't remember how my mom and I talked about, but I've had to have the conversation with my own daughters. And yes, it is very uncomfortable. However, I wanted to be the one to tell them the right thing. My kids will tell you that I don't give a fuck what it is. It's a lesson in everything that comes up, in everything that's said. So I urge parents to talk about it with your kids anyway, regardless, and give them a foundation and give them an open door where they can come and talk to you about it at any time, and you can make sure that they have it the right way. Because if you depend on the schools just like everything else, they're gonna be let down. They're gonna be ill prepared and set up for failure. Because can you imagine, you got all this stuff you're supposed to be memorizing for elementary school, so 4th to 5th grade, you know, it's tough learning that. Then you got the stuff going on the playground, and you got the stuff going on at home, and then on top of that, you got this period that you can't talk about. What y'all doing for mental health? I really urge Floridians to figure out when is enough. Enough. When are y'all gonna say, no, that's too much? No, hell no. Because I guarantee you, although it's starting in Florida, somebody else gonna jump on the bandwagon. But around here, we talking about it. We talking about periods. We talking about age appropriate things. Ain't no beating around the bush. Ain't no hiding. Straight talk. Just like you let them listen to music. They on TikTok. They on YouTube. They watching all kind of shit. Sit down and have a conversation with them. That's the only thing that I could say is an alternative. Because it's coming. There's no way to avoid it. And then if it don't come, then there's a medical issue, and that's another problem. So make the kids comfortable enough to talk about it, reach out, ask questions, and do better by our kids. Please do better.